This is the Watterson's house. We've seen it explode, get swallowed by the void, and even possessed by spirits. And somehow it still remains. Yeah, this house, and by and large Gumball itself, doesn't exactly follow any logic. I mean, let me ask you a question real quick. Do you actually know how this house is laid out? Because if you think you do, I'm about to ruin that for you. At first glance, it seems simple enough. Like, there's the living room up front, the dining area tucked next to it, and the kitchen behind that, and the kids' bedroom upstairs. Makes sense, really. But once you start looking closer, the cracks start to appear. Doors that lead nowhere, windows that don't match the rooms, secret rooms, and this is just the beginning. So let's start dissecting it one by one and going through all of the mysteries of the house. First stop, the living room. And this is probably the most normal room, but it already starts breaking its own rules. From the outside, the Watterson's house looks narrow and compact. But once we're inside, the living room feels much wider than it should be. There's space for the couch, the TV, and stairs. But the biggest problem is the door in that living room wall. When we look at where the front door is placed, this door should lead straight outside, which clearly is not the case. Now that the living room has already broken logic, it's time to move a few steps forward into the combined dining area and kitchen, where things somehow get even worse. At a first glance, it looks like your typical suburban kitchen. Checkered floors, cupboards, fridge, and a counter connecting to the dining space. But there's a big problem, and that has to do with the kitchen sharing a counter with the dining room, which means that the layout should be fixed. But across multiple episodes, the distance between the table, the counter, and the walls keeps changing. Sometimes the space feels tight, and other times it feels wide enough for the characters to run in circles. But it gets even worse because then there's this door that leads into the laundry room. From the inside, this suggests that there's yet another room behind the kitchen, but the back of the house does not show enough depth to support a kitchen, dining area, and laundry room stacked together. Yet the door still exists and works whenever the plot needs it. Now, if you think the kitchen and dining area are strange, wait until we move upstairs. Welcome to the Watterson children's room. This is the room where Gumball, Darwin, and sometimes Anais sleep, or try to. First, there's Darwin. He doesn't sleep in a bed like a normal kid. No, he sleeps in a fishbowl. Right next to him is the bunk bed. Gumball takes the bottom bunk, and Anais takes the top, at least sometimes. However, in the episode The Distance, we see Darwin being introduced to what looks like a new room, which is strange on its own. But here's the catch. Despite that introduction, Darwin continues sleeping in his fishbowl. And then there's Anais' own room. You might have seen it in the episode The Date. It's small, has green painted walls, a table, a horse poster, some dolls, and a toy chest. Pretty normal, right? But here's the weird part. After that episode, her room basically disappears, and it's never mentioned again. Later, she sleeps in Gumball's room. So apparently, her room either got eaten by the house, teleported to another dimension, or the writers just forgot about it. Pick your favorite explanation. Comment below what you think happened. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe. So yeah, the Watterson's children's sleeping arrangements make absolutely no sense. Because from the outside, this room appears very small. And in some shots, it even appears to be a part of the attic. The window placement makes it seem narrow and cramped, like it should barely fit one bed.
I go through the front door, up the stairs, I take one turn right to go to our bedroom, and...
The shape of the room is another issue. From certain exterior angles, the space looks triangular, but inside, the walls are straight, wide, and tall. It feels like a typical square bedroom, which directly contradicts what the roofline suggests. And the best part is that in the Watterson house, even the electronics are tired of reality. In the episode The World, the light switch and bulb in Gumball's room act like live beings.
Hey, dude. Hey. hey, light bulb.
Yeah, very funny.
Hey, light bulb. Lighten up.
But next, we have to discuss the bathroom and the upstairs layout. And this is where the windows start moving on their own. The Watterson's bathroom is supposed to be upstairs, right across from the stairs. Inside, there's a bathtub, a sink, a toilet, and usually a mirror on the wall. Nothing strange, at least not right away. But once you start comparing episodes, the bathroom stops being consistent. One of the clearest problems is the wall above the sink. In most episodes, that spot has a mirror. We clearly see it again and again, so the mirror feels like a fixed part of the room. But in the episode The Promise, Darwin escapes from the bathroom using toilet paper as a rope. This window has literally never been there before, but in the season 3 episode, The Lie, a window suddenly appears in that exact same position. The story never explains this change, but next, we're gonna move up higher in the house and talk about the attic. The attic is supposed to be above the second floor, right under the roof. From the outside, the house's roof does not look tall enough to hide a large space, but once we see the attic from the inside, it feels much bigger than it should be. The attic is sometimes treated as a safe storage space, and other times as a dangerous or unstable area. In some episodes, it holds harmless junk like toys and boxes, and in other episodes, it becomes a place where serious events happen, yet nothing changes afterwards. The real problem starts when we look at how the attic connects to the rest of the house. In the episode The Man, we see Gumball talking to his grandmother's boyfriend by leaning out of the bedroom window. That window clearly faces the front of the house, right above the porch, which tells us it belongs to Gumball's room on the second floor. Everything seems clear at that moment, but then another episode quietly breaks that logic. In the episode The Poltergeist, Gumball hides Mr. Robinson in the attic. When Mr. Robinson tries to escape and calls for help, he appears at that same window. This time, however, the show treats it as the attic window, not Gumball's bedroom window. So now we have a problem. The same window cannot belong to both the attic and Gumball's room at the same time. If that window is in the attic, then where did the second floor go? And if it's Gumball's room, how did the attic suddenly move there? The house never explains this and never fixes it. And once the attic stops making sense, there's only really one place left to examine: the parents' bedroom, which somehow exists in multiple layouts. Before we proceed, there's something we need to clarify first. Despite what some layouts suggest, the parents' bedroom clearly cannot be on the ground floor. In season 1, in the episode The Car, Anais goes into her parents' room to wake Nicole up, and in the very next scene, we see Nicole and Anais coming down the stairs. That moment alone confirms their bedroom is on the second floor. However, this is where the show creates confusion. In season 3, in the episode The Man, the framing and layout, and Richard coming out of the room strongly suggests this door leads to their bedroom. The show presents it as if their room is right there on the ground floor, only one door away from the couch. So the series gives us two opposite answers at the same time, and instead of fixing this, the show simply moves on, leaving both versions to exist together at the same time, which is very on brand for Gumball. Now let's talk about the basement, because this one makes the least sense of all. For most of the show, the Wattersons act like their house doesn't even have a basement. Then suddenly we find out that there is a basement, and it's been there the entire time. Even worse, Rob is living down there. So either the basement randomly appeared one day, or the house has been hiding an entire underground level without anyone noticing. And in case the layout problems weren't enough, the house itself once moved by accident. Yes, the entire house. In one episode, construction workers casually picked it up and shifted it somewhere else. So at this point, it's very clear that every room in the Wattersons' house bends the rules in its own way. But remember, this is the amazing world of Gumball, and in Gumball's world, anything is possible. Make sure to subscribe and click the video on screen. I'm sure you'll love it.